there was a story that broke that said that there's a potential for expanding to a 14-team playoff. Did you see this, Matt?
Yeah, I did see a little bit of talk of that earlier this week.
And so it's no surprise, right? They're just talking about expanding, but I'm of the opinion that an 8-team playoff would have been perfect in college football. You don't need a 64-team or 68-team March Madness field like in college basketball. In college football, the BCS was tough because you had the number 3 and 4 teams sitting there like, it could be an undefeated conference champion. So the BCS championship game when it was only 2, that wasn't good enough. It was a step up from it being voted on, but that wasn't good enough. So then we went to the 4-team playoff. It was better, but there's still controversy around. You got an undefeated Florida State last year or a 1-loss Georgia last year that really, had a pretty good argument that they could have been. I'm not saying they were, but they could have been the best team in the country. And that really goes out the window when you start getting past team number 8, in my opinion. You get an 8-team playoff on the field. Team number 9 can't sit there and be like, yeah, but we're the best team. It's like, no, you're not. You're either a 1-loss Central Florida or like a 3-loss LSU. And it's like, at that point, you can't say you're the best team in the country. So to me, they overshot the mark by doing a 12-team playoff. And now they're already talking about pushing it to 14. I think it's too much. I think 8 is the sweet spot. But I'm not one of these guys that's going to bitch about more football. I will watch it. I'll get my popcorn out. I will be happy, and I will enjoy it. How do you feel about it?
I'm kind of the same mindset, Mike. I'm also of the belief, though, that like they need to just let one of these scenarios that they've already voted on and decided upon play out and let us make a decision upon there, right? I mean, essentially, we're in a
Good point.
situation right now where we're going from 4 teams into this unforeseen territory that we've never been in before as college football fans. So, I think let's just see what happens with this 12 team. And that's the thing. It's also just jumping from 4 to 12. So when you hear 14, it kind of just makes you want to stop and smell the roses a little bit with what's already been decided upon. Because at this point, you've got all this hype that's almost growing stale to an extent because they're just trying to keep adding all these things and making all these adjustments to this thing that we're already like set to be pretty excited about. So I'm kind of just of the belief that, like it is what it is. It is what we've decided that it's going to be going forward. Now let's see how this year plays out. And then if you feel like you need to make a decision again, then I guess maybe that's a conversation for the next year. But until then, like, let's just play out this 12-team model that everybody's already gotten all excited about and see how that goes.
Yeah, you make a good point, Matt. It's like they're talking about going to 14. It's like we haven't even seen 12 yet, right? And
You just
like
got
it
done
could be a good
selling me
idea.
on 12. Like, at this point,
Right.
it kind of
Right.
gets old, the repetitive, like, but wait, there's more. It's like that annoying
Mm-hmm.
salesman that's like
Right.
the car dealership trying to get you to buy something and they've already sold you and they just keep overselling the product. Like that's what it feels like.
It's that guy from the Flex Seal commercials that like puts duct tape on the bottom of a boat that's like, what about 14 teams? What about 16? No, I'm with you, man. But I think, where do you think it ends? Like 16 is a nice round number. There would be no buys in a 16-team playoff, but it does seem like 16 is going to be the spot that they settle on, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that's where we're destined to eventually end up, because any more than that just seems like it would be a ridiculous amount of teams. And at that point, you're essentially playing a second season because,
Yeah.
college football and college basketball are not the same. You want to expand it to include all of these teams, but that type of model just isn't I mean, it's sufficient to have more teams like what they're attempting to do, but it's overkill up to a certain point.
Yeah, I mean 12 is enough, man. Like who was the 13th ranked team in the country last year? AP poll. Let me see if I can get it up fast enough here. Oh, that's basketball. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. Like you got like I think my example of like a 3-loss LSU is a good point, right? It's like a team drops 3 games, or like a USC or somebody like that. I know that they kind of fell off the map, or maybe like an Oklahoma last year. It's like those teams don't belong in the playoff at that point. If you can't go and like win, at least 10, 11 games and get yourself near your conference championship, or if you're like one of these mid-major teams, if you don't run the table, then you don't really deserve to be in the playoffs. So it'll be interesting. I think we will land on 16. That's just my guess, but I don't know. It's fun. I'm still not a naysayer. I'm not one of these traditionalists. It's like, oh, I want to go back to the old days. It's like, no. I don't want to go back to Michigan and Nebraska splitting championships and like ties and stuff like that. Like I think people that want to go back to that are just romanticizing the past and don't remember that like what we have now is better. It's better than that.